So, good morning and welcome, beloved community, to the Center for Spiritual Living virtual service. Uh, we're doing a remote location. Most of you guys are in Ukiah. I'm in Redwood City today. And I'm so happy that you're all taking part and spending a good part of your day with us today. And I want to remind you, as always, that your soul is welcomed here. And I know that somewhere in this service, you're going to hear exactly what you need to hear, whether it's in a treatment or in the music or in the message. We're here and we're ready and we're excited that you're here. And so we're going to start and we're going to have our opening treatment. And today, the treatment will be given by Victoria Wright. So, Victoria.
There. I have a cat on my head and a dog in my lap. And we're all here together to celebrate, our community, to celebrate our soul's power, ease, love, and joy, to celebrate productivity, and to celebrate each other in this wonderful community that fills our hearts and souls with our togetherness. And as we accept this community and we accept this teaching, we know we are filled with health and well-being as a group, as individuals. We let that flow through us to each other and into our community beyond this center. We know that our love and joy is the love and joy of the one being, the God that we are of, that works through us and as us, and that we are being the being in everything we do, and that it is easy to remember that in every step, in every breath, in every thought. It is easy to remember that God's source within is what we are expressing, what we are receiving, what we are flowing. And as we accept this, we give great thanks for this awareness that is deep within us, in our minds, in our hearts. We accept this awareness, for it is given freely. And as we release this treatment, knowing that it is already so, together we say, and so it is. Namaste.
So it is.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you, Victoria. That was beautiful. And now we're going to have our opening song. So, Madge, take it away.
Okay, and I am going to screen share because I'd like you to all sing along. We're supposed to be getting snow up here in Willits, and so I thought In the Winter would be a really good song. So let's see, from the circle in the winter. Oh, there it is. And you can adjust how big it is on your screen. There's a vertical bar, and you can maximize the words if you need to, or get more little pictures of people on the side, however you want to do that. But I hope you will sing along. Oh, actually, I also want to mention, I think I'll do the melody twice, the first verse and the second verse. When we get to the third verse, I'm going to go to a lower harmony. And if you want to hear harmony, then you keep singing the melody. and you'll be hearing at least some harmony. This is a Judy Fiel song. In the winter, when the snow falls and the rain falls, when the wind blows wild in the winter, when the darkness falls and the wild goose calls from a land far away, I can hear her calling to me. I can hear her calling, you can be free. In the winter, when the sun's low and the ground's froze, way down deep, there's a message in the darkness. Life is a promise that the earth will keep. I can hear her calling to me. I can hear her calling, you can be free. You stay on the melody. Oops, and I have to undo this. In the winter, when the snow falls and the rain falls, when the wild goose calls, there's a message in the darkness. Life is a promise that the earth will keep. I can hear her calling to me. I can hear her calling. You can be free. 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 Thank you.
That was beautiful, Madge. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so the topic today is look up. Uh, I know for a lot of us, we were very excited last week. It was inauguration day. And for a lot of us, I think we spent um, a good portion of this last year waiting for election day, waiting for Christmas, waiting for New Year's, waiting for inauguration day. And for me, because I was very involved in the inauguration and watching it and seeing what was going on. Um, and for me, I started having it. It has that same kind of feel as we're used to around New Year's. Here's this day that really marks the end of something and the beginning of something else. And there is this promise that life things are going to change. And the day itself, last Wednesday, was for me, it was a great day. But then the next day came, and there was definitely okay, so now what feeling going on for me, and I didn't go out of the house much, so I didn't do a lot of communicating, but I could see that. I could see just in social media, for instance, that there's so much work to be done if we want to see substantial, sustainable change in our country. And so when I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you today, one of the things that came up for me almost immediately is I'm just going to sound like I'm repeating myself for the millionth time. So there you go. I'm going to repeat myself for the millionth time. Anything that you desire to have show up in your world must begin within yourself, must begin inwardly. I was introduced to a book a couple of weeks ago by Reverend Dr. David Bruner, who a lot of today's talk is based on that talk. It was very, very inspiring to me. And the name of the book is Atomic Habits. It's written by James Clear. And in that book, Mr. Clear says, no improvement is permanent until it becomes part of who you are. Let me repeat that. No, no improvement is permanent until it becomes a part of who you are. So, what are the things that you were hoping for? What are the things that you would most like to see happen in this new administration after the inauguration, now that President Biden is in office? And there's lots of things that and the list is pretty long, more equality, a new level of calm, that aids bipartisanship, well, being able to talk to each other, to be more forgiving, to listen to each other, and on and on and on, making sure people can eat, clean water, better environment, on and on and on. And what I know is those are all great ideas, and these are things that we should be striving for, but none of that will be permanent until you and I embody these ideals and live from that ideal. So there's kind of a clue here, I guess. I'll call it a clue, that instead of hoping or dreaming, praying for um, a goal such as um, a peaceful nation. So instead of praying and having my goal be a peaceful nation, my goal would be that I am a peaceful person who lives here in this nation. So instead of can't we just all get together, get along? Can't we just all get along? How about I'm a person who strives to get along with others? So I want to tell you a story. I have no idea where this story comes from, but I liked it. It's a story about a dog and a cat and a man. And the dog is very hungry. And so he's kind of just looking around, trying to see what's available for him to eat. And he sees a cat. And he decides that that cat would make a really good meal for him. So he takes off after the cat. So of course, the cat takes off, and the chase is on. And the chase goes on and on quite a while. They run through yards, they run through houses, and they just, they're going over fences. They just go and go and go. And they're just running all over the neighborhood. And this goes on for quite a while. And finally, the dog just gives up. Now there's a man, and he's been observing this. So he goes over to the dog and he says, "You almost had him. Why did you stop?" And the dog answers, "I was never going to catch him." And the man asks, "Why do you think that?" And the dog responds, I was running for a meal. The cat was running for his life. There's a moral here. And the moral of the story is instead of chasing small satisfactions, run for your life. I really liked that. Instead of just even just getting through today, what is it that this is that I'm being called to, you know, and if it's, peace for my life or uh, love for my life, instead of going after the small satisfaction, let's run for our lives. In one of the many amazing writings by Emma Curtis Hopkins. And Emma is really known in the New Thought world as the teacher of teachers. And she basically taught individuals, but she did do some teaching with Dr. Holmes, who's the founder of Science of Mind. And she also did teaching with the Fillmores, who are the founders of Unity. So she's got a pretty good rep, and we all refer to her books often. So I was thinking about something that she had said, and so I found this quote, and what she said is, "The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is." So let me get that one more time. The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. And persist has been a pretty active word for us for the last many years. And so what are we persisting? What is the thing that we continue to say, that we continue to believe? And is that what we want? Because whatever we're insisting upon, for sure it's yours, you're going to get it. And so I sort of, again, looked at myself, and for quite a while, like I would say the last 4 years anyway, I know that my focus, and for many, we have persisted in exhibiting an attitude that is just trying to survive. Just try to get through the next day. Just try to get through the next year, the next month. And how we feel about that when in this moment, right now, we can see and feel an opportunity to live a life with meaning. In order for that to happen, we must look up. So that's where I kind of came up with this theme today, to look up. In my looking around this week, pretty much every faith tradition says something about raising your gaze or looking up. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, there is a line that many of you will know this. It says, I will lift up mine eyes unto the mountains, from whence comes my help. I will lift up my eyes to the mountains, to that higher place, from whence my help, my support, my essence, my source comes. So I also took a little bit of time and I looked up the word looking. And I found this really interesting definition of all places on Wikipedia. And on that page, looking is defined like this: the act of intentionally focusing, on someone or something for the purpose of obtaining information and interpreting what is seen and choosing whether to continue looking at it or to look elsewhere. So what are you looking at? What are you persisting in believing in saying, oh, it looks this way to me? What is that? And again, I know that for many of us, we spent a good part of 2020 looking down. Now, looking down, there's nothing innately wrong with looking down, because what looking down means metaphysically is concentrating on immediate facts, interpreting those facts as you fill in the blank, as you believe it to whatever it is you believe it to mean. Um, and it is good to know what lies before us, what lies right in front of us, because we don't necessarily want to keep falling over it. But the unfortunate thing is, if we continue to look down, we sometimes get trapped in thinking that these immediate facts are all that there is, that this is not just a fact of the moment, but the truth of my life. So it's really important that we not just continue to concentrate, particularly if the thing in front of us that we're dealing with today makes us uncomfortable. So, so keep that in mind, that looking down experience. So once in a while, when we're kind of just navigating our day and we're looking down at what's on our plate, what's mine to do today, we raise our gaze and we look straight ahead. And again, metaphysically, often when that I'm lifting my gaze and looking out, what can initiate that is meditation, prayer, singing an inspirational song will suddenly lift us. And that lifting of our vision to the horizon, even, or just being willing to take it, it reveals opportunities that we can't see, we can't even consider while we're still looking down. So it's important to occasionally raise your gaze, um, to just take in a little bit more, let that peripheral vision kick in for you and do all of that. And then there's looking up. And the thing about looking up is we all are already doing it and are not even aware half of the time. And sometimes actually get annoyed when we see somebody else do it. uh, because when we roll our eyes, when you hear something and you've just raised your gaze. And so I think that this is also kind of an innate response that takes us out of the immediate facts and actually gives us the opportunity to change our perspective in a much larger way. So I want to share with you today an exercise that I learned many years ago. I was at a continuing education conference in Seattle. Um, and this conference is for ministers that are just kind of ready to do something different with their ministries, just to, and it might not be a big deal thing. And it's an amazing event because you just have to pay to get there. And then you're in like this amazing resort with amazing food and amazing teachers. And there's actually 4 ministers that run this. And one of them is Kathy Ann Lewis, who is also the senior most minister at CSL Seattle. So Kathy does this great workshop, and I'd like for you to kind of try it. I know that you're just going to do it quietly, and I'm going to go through the steps pretty quickly, but you might consider taking a look at it during the week, particularly if something is bothering you and you find yourself feeling trapped, that that you can't get out of this thing, this fact. Uh, so the first thing I would like for you to do, and you don't have to be looking at the screen or anything, just sit comfortably and close your eyes. And the first thing I want you to do is ponder something that's not working. Now, it doesn't have to be a huge thing, but just something that's not working. I'm arguing with my spouse. I'm frustrated with my kids. I'm annoyed with my coworker. I just received an unwanted diagnosis. I'm experiencing financial problems, financial difficulties. I'm afraid my job might go away. So, whatever that is that's happening for you, just allow yourself to feel that for a moment. And then I'm going to have you open your eyes, but instead of looking at the camera or the screen, I want you to look down and keep the situation in mind and just look down. And just think for a minute how that feels. Because looking down gives us very little perspective. And often when we're looking down, if you think about times when you're frustrated, we often, put our head in our hands and even sometimes block our vision. So we can feel very cut off, isolated, alone. So now reclose your eyes and just sit comfortably, take a deep breath. And so this time I'm going to have you open your eyes, but this time I want you to look straight ahead, just straight ahead, whatever that is for you. For me, I'm looking at out David's window here and at the blooming bush right outside. But again, now that you're looking straight ahead, how does that feel? Because some of the things that looking straight ahead, what does is it pulls you a little bit out of the frustration. It reveals a greater perspective, just physically, it reveals a greater perspective. And there can come a realization of support. And, and sometimes it can be, oh, wait a minute, I do have greater resources. Um, Whatever it is that comes up for you. One of the tricks in doing an exercise like this is to try really hard not to think about what the right answer might be, but just go ahead and allow yourself to gaze and take in a larger expanse, a larger perspective. And take another deep breath and close your eyes again. And this time, when you open your eyes, I want you to look up. So you can look at your screen for a second. Because for me, looking up is like this. It's, don't throw your head back. Don't try to do a back bend. Just raise your gaze. So my gaze is at the place where the ceiling meets the wall. And so just allow that to also, without trying to manipulate it too much, what does that feel like? That looking up. Because one of the things, and you may have noticed that just by looking up just that little bit, what happens is all through your chest, your heart, your throat, and even your head, there is an opening that happens. So there's both psychological and physical uh, stuff that's happening that allows us to again know that there is more here than what I observe when I'm looking straight and definitely when I'm looking down. The thing about an exercise like this is you may not get an immediate answer, but what will be revealed is a sense of potential, a sense of opportunity, because it is in this moment of allowing our vision, both inward and outward, to rise, we discover this hidden power within us that we can take ourselves out of what we were pondering and lift ourselves in just that simple action of looking up. This is a great time to do, or this is a great thing to do anytime. Um, Waiting in line to cash out at the groceries. Nobody's going to know you're doing it. You're just standing there. And, but it's especially good to do when you are feeling a little frustrated or a little down. The simple act of looking up for just a second can just open us. David Bruner shared that uh, when he does this exercise, he does it every day. He's made it part of his spiritual practice, but when he does it is while he's brushing his teeth. And I thought, so I've been practicing that since I heard this talk a couple of weeks ago. And it's great. So, for 4 minutes a day, twice in the morning, twice at night, I'm looking up. And I really thought I've found some real great insight comes, particularly when I'm raising my gaze. And so I wanted to introduce this practice to you and just allow yourself um, to try it. I know that when I first learned this, and this was probably close to 20 years ago when I was at that workshop, I began every morning at my own house when I stood up, because for those of you in my house, I'm right by a window in my bedroom. So I would stand in front of that window, open the curtains, and I would look up and I would look over the building outside and see the sky. And just that looking up was a great way to start my day. So it's a really good practice, and I hope you'll spend some time with it this week and allow yourselves to considering what we're doing today after the service with our annual meeting. It's really time for us to look up, to look and see what other potential opportunities lies within this community. So take some time and practice. For this is a new time, and there is so much to be hopeful for. There's so much to lean into. So lean into that, but in fact, run with that. In other words, be sure what you do isn't just for the moment, but it's for your life, and it's for my life, and it's for a world where we want to live, because it's a world that works for everyone. So take a deep breath. So for our closing treatment today, um, I'm going to read to you Psalm 139. I'm going to get my glasses. So whatever your prayer pose looks like, if that's, I want you to be comfortable, but sit in a comfortable position, allowing yourself to be open and maybe just raise your gaze a little bit and absorb these words. Eyes open, eyes closed, whatever is most comfortable for you. You have searched me, Spirit, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Spirit, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am awesomely and wonderfully made. Your work is wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious to me are your thoughts, God. How vast is the sum of them. Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I awake, I am still with you. So just know with me right now as we absorb these words that wherever we are, no matter what is going on, there is a source that has always known us from before we walked on this planet until long after in a timeless universe. We are created and held in the embrace of God. That everything about us comes from that place. And so right now we can choose to remember that and to move through our day, boundless energy, boundless truth. And we know that as we move, live, run through our lives, we do it in God. So there is only goodness to come, only greatness, and we actively take a part in that. And for this, I'm so grateful for myself and for everyone here and for everyone everywhere. As together we know these words of truth are truth for everyone, all beings, great and small, seen and unseen. There is only love. There is only peace. There is only joy, for there is only God. And we let it be so. And so it is. So another deep breath as we move into our collection time. And again, I want to just thank all of you for, if it weren't for you, the center would not be here. And I know that we have that shared value, that shared vision for what we can do together as a spiritual community in this world at this time. So together, I will say it out loud. You can know it in your heart, these words for our offering affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies this gift. With all my heart and with all my mind, I know that I am saying yes to something I value. With all others present here, we dedicate these gifts to the values and the vision we share. And so it is. So we do have a couple of announcements. And the first one is for the last month or so on every newsletter, there has been the paper for your intentional giving. And you actually can fill that out anytime, but particularly today it's important. So I'm hoping that everybody will also be, announcement number 2, attending our annual meeting in a little bit. And if you have filled that out, there was a place where you can indicate if you consider yourself a member. And if you've done that, then you get to vote at the annual meeting. So, and we're going to be discussing, our vision for the future. So I would love to have as many voices as possible sharing in that. So if you haven't, do it now. And if you tell us you've done it, we'll believe you. And you can be a member at the annual meeting. So anyway, back to the annual meeting. The annual meeting, I think what we finally decided, checking, that we're going to start at noon, just so that if there were people that aren't here or couldn't be here who want. So you can, when we finish here, you can just leave your computer on, or you can log back in at noon. I'm going to leave mine on so the meeting will be open. Um, and we can visit for a while and then start the meeting. It'll be really great. Bonnie's here and she'll be leading the meeting, and that'll be great. The last thing is Teresa is still collecting things for the homeless shelter. That's also been in your in the newsletter the last couple of weeks, and there's a list of things that they need in there. So please refer to that. And there's also in there a couple of ways. You can take it to Teresa, but you can also take it to Judy Morgan, who also lives in the downtown area, and just leave it on her porch and she'll get it there. You can take it yourself to the shelter, and you can just call in and someone will come out and get it for you. Get whatever you have and carry it in. They'll kind of do it no contact that way if you want. So that's about it. And so I think it's time for,
Candace, it's
yeah.
Teresa. I just want to say I'll put my home number in the chat if people want to call me so they know, or if they're coming
Okay.
over. Yeah, I mean, they can just do it. They can just do it, but I know sometimes people just feel more comfortable if they know how to get a hold of me. So
Okay,
put it in the
that's
chat.
fine. That's fine. Okay. Well, great. And so thank you, Teresa. And so Madge, you want to sing us out?
Yes, I want you all to sing with me again. And I don't think you've ever heard this song, but it is really easy. And I believe it comes from the Sufi tradition. And I am going to not screen share, but I'm going to get my copy up in front of me just so I know when to change chords. Actually, I won't bother to do that. Never mind. It's going to take me too long. Okay, so the words, well, I'll just start singing it. And I'm going to do the melody a few times through, and then you'll get it. It's so easy. And then I will do a sort of a echo over the melody, and you can just keep singing the melody. And just imagine for a moment that we are, instead of a series of boxes across the screen, that we are in a circle. We are in a circle because we're a circle of community. And you can also send from that circle whatever you need. From this circle of love, from this circle of love, from this circle of love, I send you peace. From this circle of love, from this circle of love, from this circle of love, we send you peace. From the circle of send you peace from this circle of love, 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 from the circle. I send you peace. One more time. From this circle of love, from this circle of love, from this circle of, from this circle of love, from this circle of love, I send you peace. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Candace. Happy birthday to you.
Yay!
Thank you, Madge.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that was wonderful. And I love you all. So hang in if you want to share for a little bit. But in the meantime, just know how precious you are, all of you, to my heart. And namaste.